If I could only give one piece of advice to all of my small business clients, it would be to find a cozy hobby. Something that helps relax your mind after a long day and feel creative and accomplished outside of your work. But maybe you don't know which one to start with. So in today's video, I am sharing 10 more of my favorite cozy hobbies, as well as some of the pros and cons of each. So if that's what you want to see, go ahead and get comfy, make yourself a cup of tea, and let's find your newest creative obsession together.
The first cozy hobby that I became almost instantly obsessed with, like the moment I picked up the brush, I could not put it down all last year, is watercolor paints. Now I know what you're thinking,
Tara, I'm not an artist, painting is so difficult.
I totally hear you, and I thought the same thing for years because I've tried acrylic, I have tried oil painting. Those are definitely more extreme than watercolor is because you can really go as detailed or as simplistic and abstract as you want, and that's definitely the way I prefer to watercolor paint, making it more kind of a meditative practice of just watching the colors swirl through the water and then going in later with little details to really clean it up and make it look like a painting. And what I really enjoy is this book that my wife got me. It's called Cafe in Bloom. It already has a bunch of different sketches drawn out for you. So if you're like, Tara, I don't know how to draw, you don't have to worry. They're literally on the page for you and you can paint in this book. So it tells you the instructions on one side and what colors to use, exactly what order to paint everything in, like it teaches you how to paint as you go, and then it has the cute little sketch on the other side for you. So I am obsessed with this book. You'll notice there's not a ton of my own art in it yet. I just got it because I actually filled up the other watercolor book that my wife got me last Christmas when she also got me these paints, which I believe are only $20 on Amazon. And that's another thing that I really enjoy about watercolor. It's relatively cheap to start. Like I said, these were $20. I think the book was $15 or $20, and I'll link both below. This isn't sponsored in any way. I just found this has been really helpful for me learning how to do watercolor, and then eventually I was able to get my own sketch pad and kind of follow designs on YouTube that I see. But if you're interested in starting watercolor paints, I would highly recommend grabbing at least these two things. It'll make it so much easier to learn. And I would also highly recommend, no matter which one of these cozy hobbies that you pick from this video, to grab a basket and put all of your supplies inside of it. Because it is so much easier to grab your cozy hobby versus your phone to doom scroll if everything is in one place. And I did the same thing with all my crochet stuff. It's in a basket right next to my couch. So at night when I want to cuddle up and relax my mind, everything I need is in one convenient location. And by the way, check your local thrift store because they always have tons of baskets and sometimes craft supplies too. Now, if you're not into painting, but you are into flowers or maybe have your own garden like I do, I would highly recommend getting into flower pressing. This little thing again, I think was $20, and honestly, you don't even need this. You could just put some parchment or wax paper in between some pages of a heavy book and press flowers, leaves, ferns, vines, literally anything you find outside, you can preserve it. And then you have a beautiful piece of nature and maybe a reminder of what you grew in your garden that year, even in the dead of winter. For example, this little Tupperware container here has a bunch of different flowers that I found outside, of course, during the spring, not while there's a foot of snow on the ground. But look how beautiful and dainty that is. And what I also really like about this hobby in particular is like you can kind of forget about it for a while because like honestly I don't even know what's in my flower press. Right now they've been in there for quite a bit. So you know what, let's open it up and see what's inside. So apparently I had mums in our flower press, meaning I did this all the way back in probably October, November, and they are still perfectly fine, even though I totally forgot about them for literally months. So if you tend to be somebody who gets really, really into a hobby and then kind of forgets about it for a while before getting back into it, flower pressing could be a really great option for you, and also works out perfectly with the next cozy hobby we're going to talk about that I have been meaning to get into for literally years. Scrapbooking, or as some have rebranded it to junk journaling. It's kind of interesting that I haven't gotten into this one yet because my Instagram theme is literally a scrapbook and I think it is really freaking cute. And by the way, if you don't follow me over there yet, but you're into cozy business hacks, slow living inspiration, hobbies like this, or want to just hang out with a fellow Disney Swiftie and queer adult, then you should definitely follow me over at Magically Tara Simone on Instagram so we can hang out every single day instead of just once a week here on YouTube. Okay, enough with the shameless plug. Scrapbooking or junk journaling, I think, is such a beautiful way to take all of those memories that you're capturing on your phone and honestly taking up a ton of space and you can't take any more pictures because you're out of storage. Yeah, that literally happens to me at least once a week. But I think it is a great way to take all of the magical moments that you've captured and turn it into something tangible, or as people are calling it these days, an analog year, which I am 110% behind. And luckily for this, you don't have to go crazy and buy a bunch of stuff in order to start scrapbooking. I know if you walked down the aisles of Michael's or if you used to go to Joann's, RIP girl, we miss you. But they would have aisle after aisle of scrapbooks and stickers and paper and tape and all of these things that you think you need, when honestly, if you've ever seen somebody junk journal, they literally just take things from their everyday life. From wrappers, receipts, tickets, magazine clippings, whatever you think is pretty can become art inside of your scrapbook or junk journal. And it's just really cool to think that one day, decades from now, maybe your kids or your grandkids are gonna find this scrapbook in the back of your craft closet and be like, Grandma, what's this? And you could just show them little bits and pieces of your life from years ago. I don't know, I think it's really cute and I'm definitely going to get into it this year. Mark my words, it is going to happen and I'm telling you so that way you keep me accountable to it. And the other cozy hobby that I really want to get into today actually goes along perfectly if you want to get into scrapbooking. Calligraphy, or hand lettering, whichever one you want to call it. And actually, I lied. I don't need to get into calligraphy. I need to get back into it. Because this was actually the first hobby I ever had. Little backstory, back in college, I was really struggling with my mental health, and my therapist at the time recommended finding something to help distract my brain when the thoughts got really loud. And I saw a bunch of people on Pinterest learning how to write in this beautiful handwriting, and I decided to give it a whirl. And I really enjoyed just slowing down and writing down some quotes that I used to find on Tumblr all the time. Am I showing my age by saying that? Probably, it's fine. But this is another hobby that, other than being really relaxing and meditative, has a really low cost to entry. You could go out and buy the fancy hand lettering pens and markers that they sell, but honestly, I got started with a basic Crayola marker that you can get at basically any Dollar Tree. And like I said, this would be perfect if you want to get into scrapbooking, because now you could create beautiful titles or quotes inside of your scrapbook, but it also is really helpful if you like to write letters. You could make all of your snail mail beautiful. If you like to host parties, you could write name tags for everybody there, which is actually what my father-in-law does. He is so cute. He always has a fountain pen in his pocket, and anytime he writes down a note, a grocery list, literally anything, it's in calligraphy. It is the most beautiful thing ever. And while I'm not quite on his level yet, although I should ask him to sit down and teach me calligraphy because it is a whole nother level from hand lettering. And speaking of my father-in-law, he actually has another hobby that I think you would really enjoy as well. Learning an instrument or a language. Which my father-in-law has actually been doing both for years now. Every single day he takes his French lessons through an app, and then he also has been dabbling with the violin for quite a while now. If you couldn't tell, he's quite the Renaissance man, and again, he has so many hobbies, and he also has a little barn at his house where he does all these things, like literal goals. But other than the fact that he does both of them, the reason I put these two hobbies together is because you're probably gonna learn them in the same manner, which is online. And luckily, it has become so easy these days to learn a language, whether it's through Duolingo or Rosetta or even on YouTube. That's actually how I taught myself American Sign Language before finally taking a couple courses of it in college. I would watch people sign their favorite songs, and because it was a song that I enjoyed and I already knew the lyrics to, it was really easy for me to pick up which signs went to which word. And now even still, if I hear it come on the radio, I tend to sign a little bit, which is kind of cringe, but I digress. It is a great way to learn a language or learn an instrument. You could literally, again, watch a YouTube video or join a program like Skillshare that will teach you an instrument. Or even better, if there's someone in your life who knows how to play something, ask them to give you a couple lessons. For example, I've been trying to convince my wife Sasha to teach me how to play the ukulele, which I stole hers for this video because look how freaking cute it is. She learned back in college from one of her friends, so maybe this will finally be the year that me and her sit down together and she teaches me how to play the ukulele, because I would love to be able to strum along to some Taylor Swift songs, because literally I am obsessed with her. And now that I think about it, I don't think I've learned any Taylor Swift songs in sign language. Maybe I should challenge myself to do that this year. Anyways, whether you want to learn a language or you want to learn an instrument, again, these are things that you could learn on the internet, which I know we tend to give a bad rap, but there are so many good things out there that you could do for completely free. And by the way, check out your local library, because some of them actually let you borrow instruments so you could learn. So this could be literally a free cozy hobby that you could start this year. Now, if you want to completely disconnect from the internet and kind of go into your cozy little cave while doing your hobby, I would highly recommend trying out embroidery. Which this little kit I got from the thrift store for $2, which is literally a freaking steal. But what's nice about it is it has everything you need to get started. It comes with all of the different thread colors you're gonna need. It has the hoop and the sketch on top of the fabric that you're gonna sew into. It comes with the needle, and most importantly, so you don't have to look it up online, they usually come with little instructions of literally like how to do each of the stitches, what color to use, where to put it. Seriously, this is such an easy hobby to start. And once you learn a couple basic stitches, which if you've ever had to hand sew anything, you can definitely do embroidery. But once you learn those couple of stitches, you can make some really beautiful designs. And I'll be honest with you, this is something that I started probably 3 years ago. And then I stopped halfway through this embroidery project because I wanted to embroider some overalls for the garden. And then I got into crochet and then watercolor, and I just totally forgot about this little bag of embroidery stuff I had in my craft closet. But my goal this year is to at least finish up this one because it is really enjoyable and really easy to get into. Like I said, once you learn those couple basic stitches, you could basically embroider any design. And it's also really cheap because you can find these kits at Walmart or any craft store for a couple dollars, or maybe even thrift one like I did. And while I was putting this back into my embroidery bag, which again, I'm gonna recommend this tip. Put all your craft stuff in one spot so it's so easy to grab this versus grabbing your phone and doom scrolling. But when I looked in here, I noticed that I had actually another embroidery that I had started and did not finish, which is a bit of a mess. But I guess I have 2 embroidery projects that I need to get into this year, which I'm not mad about because it is pretty relaxing hobby other than when you stab yourself, which I've definitely done a few times. And I did a lot last weekend when I tried out my new cozy hobby for 2026. Needle felting. How freaking cute is this little strawberry I made last weekend? Now, I'm not gonna lie, it took me probably an hour and a half to get from a ball of wool into this, and I definitely stabbed myself a few times. Luckily it didn't hurt too bad, but I will say this hobby, it seems really easy, and it is, and it kind of gets meditative because you can just stab it a million times and again get up some of your rage, but it does take patience. Like I said, this little guy took me an hour and a half to make, and I actually have another needle felting project that I've been meaning to do because this company Joy Poke sent me this really cute capybara, which I'm so excited to do. Like, look how cute he is. He has a little tangerine and a little duck on his head. I'm obsessed with him, but I'll show you what's included. They literally give you all of the wool and then the little pad to actually stab on, as well as the needles inside. So everything you need is in this kit, and I think it's only like $30 on their website. Again, this is not sponsored, but they did gift it to me for free, so I wanted to shout them out because I found it really easy to get into it. Other than them giving me all of the materials that I needed, they also have a QR code on here that literally has a video guiding you through step by step how to create your little capybara, or I think they have a duck on their website, a rabbit. Like, they have a lot of cute designs. So if you're thinking about getting into needle felting and you're not sure where to start, this company definitely seems to make it really, really easy. And I'm actually really excited for this hobby. Like I said, it took me quite a while to make this little strawberry, but I feel like I'm only gonna get better and faster, and then I can make a bunch of cute little critters and maybe even some Christmas ornaments. Which, don't judge me, it's almost February and I still have my Christmas tree up, but it's the bit of serotonin I need to get through the rest of winter, so no judgment, no shame here. while we're on the topic of needle and thread hobbies, which I don't know if that's actually a category, but we're gonna make it one for this video. I am so excited to finally get into sewing, and I actually already made my first project. How stinking cute did this pillowcase turn out? Seriously, I am so happy that it actually worked, because this is just like an old flannel bedsheet that we had, and it wasn't even a pattern, it was just like a 2-minute YouTube short that I followed. But what I'm really excited about with this is that it's like an envelope pillowcase. So this is removable, meaning that I can make pillowcases for every single season, and then maybe also make curtains to match them. And hopefully by the end of this year, I will be good enough at sewing that I can make my own clothes, because I think that would just be so freaking cool to be able to take thrifted fabrics or even clothes that I find that I don't necessarily love and be able to turn that into something I could wear every day. Mind you, this sounds a little bit like Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music frolicking through a field of flowers wearing an outfit she made of curtains, but I'm totally okay with that. That is the vibe we are going for here. Now, the only downside that I see to sewing is that there is a bit of a startup cost. The average beginner machine is around $100, so I would recommend before investing in that to try out sewing. Either by asking a friend if you could borrow their machine and maybe they could give you a little bit of a lesson, or sometimes libraries have sewing machines that you can use there, or maybe there's a local crafting group that you could join so that way you could try it out before making that investment. But I will say it does seem like it's a long-term investment, because for that $100, you can make so many things for cheaper than what you would find them at the store. For example, cute decorative pillowcases like this, on Amazon, they were like $10 for a pair. This was completely free because I already had the flannel sheet that had a hole in it and was just gonna end up in a landfill anyways. And now I turned it into this adorable pillow. So I'm really excited for this cozy hobby. And if you already are into sewing, can you maybe drop some resources down below for me? Because like I said, I am really, really excited, and I'm hoping to make a sewing project every single month this year. So I have 11 more to go. Now for our second to last cozy hobby, which I don't know about you, but I'm having a lot of fun talking about cozy hobbies. And if you are as well, make sure to like this video so I know to create more like it. Maybe we can get a part 3 going, but also subscribe for more cozy living, business hacks, slow living inspiration, random videos like this to hopefully spark a little bit of magic and joy into your day. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss more of that. But let's dive into the next cozy hobby that I have been wanting to start so badly, and maybe I can finally convince my wife to take a class with me to learn pottery. Something about watching people on the wheel just form these vases and these mugs, it looks so zen-like. And I think getting your hands in the dirt, especially if you live somewhere like Vermont where we have not seen grass and dirt for like 4 months now, I feel like this would be such a great way to ground yourself. And then also, how cool would it be to like be drinking out of a coffee mug and someone be like, oh, that's a cute mug, and be like, thanks, I made it. Seriously, I think this is such a great hobby to get into, but I know it's a little bit expensive because most people do not have a kiln in their house. So you usually have to be part of a studio or take a class in order to do that. But I've also seen people online really getting into air dry or oven dry clay, especially jewelry makers. Again, this looks so relaxing, or maybe a little bit frustrating because they make very tiny little things, but this is definitely a hobby I want to get into and take a class for in the new year, or at the very least get some air dry clay and try to make like cute little mushrooms or something to go along with the rest of my whimsical fairy office. Speaking of cute tiny little things, our last cozy hobby that I want to get into is miniatures. Now, if you are into Legos, puzzles, or interior design, I think you're gonna love the world of miniatures because you literally create little scenes with these like teeny tiny little objects, and it looks like where a fairy would live, which is kind of the vibe that I have going on in my office. So if I could create a smaller version of that, I think it would be really fun. But also the reason I want to get into this hobby is because it's miniature, it's not going to take up a lot of space, because currently my craft closet's kind of overflowing and I don't have space for bigger hobbies at the moment. So miniature scale things would be absolutely perfect. And again, if you're into interior design, Legos, puzzles, woodworking, creating things with your hands, I think miniatures could be a great cozy hobby for you to escape into your own little world. The only con of it that I really see is the cost. While you could create these things if you got really good at like I don't know, air dry clay like we said in the last Cozy Hobby. You could definitely make all of these little miniature things for your world, but I've mostly seen people buy them online, which probably also isn't great for the environment now that I think about it. But that's the only downside I really see of creating miniatures. But if you want to make your own little cozy escape that you can kind of get lost in, miniatures might be the perfect hobby for you. And there are 10 more cozy hobbies for you to get into this year. Now, let me know down below which one you're going to try out, or maybe there's a cozy hobby I forgot about. Let me know down in the comments and maybe we'll make a part 3 to this video series. By the way, if you missed part 1, I will leave that right here for you so you can check out the 10 other cozy hobbies I think you would really enjoy and will help you fight the winter blues. And down in the description, you will find a blog that has links for every single thing that I mentioned today, so that way you can get your cozy hobbying on. And until next video, stay cozy and stay magical.